Yeah, I don't want to go to jail for anything. I'm much too, weak.
And you're pretty. You are listening to the Stand Up Dads podcast.
This is hecka boring.
Yeah, it is.
Let's try again.
Hey, you're listening to Stand Up Dads. This is Rob.
And Mike.
And Mike's useless ass just woke up.
Damn it.
Let's do this at 7:30. You said that, not me.
Yeah, I know. And I'm always I'm always I hate that. I hate that you have another story of that too. That's the worst part of it.
What's going on? Oh yeah, we got to record.
Yeah. I just see the name on the call. I'm like, oh, not again. I'm the worst.
And this is the dedication that brings you this wonderful show every week.
Dang it. And Olivia's got an acting class at 9, so I was trying to get her set up before coming down here. So that's why I'm like a wreck right now. I'm like stressed in the morning.
I figured you'd be a wreck because of how she was burning you all week.
Oh my God, man. Yeah. She had some great ones this week. I had told her we visited my mom and dad. My dad was bugging her to wake her up. He'd play that what's that called? The army does that.
Reveille.
Reveille. So when she's asleep, because we have to put like the blow up mattress in the living room, he'll turn the TV on and play that, and he'll bug her to wake her up. Well, he never did that when we were kids. So we were like, you're like getting special attention from Bumpa, But everybody bugged her this time to wake her up, so she was mad. And I told her, I'm like, look, when you're older, you're gonna remember these times, You're going to remember, even though you feel like they're bugging you, you're going to remember these things and be happy. So then later in the week, I don't know, I was joking with her and she's like, you're really funny, Daddy. And I was like, oh, that's so. And she's like, that's how I'm going to remember you when you die. And it wasn't like to mess with you. It wasn't. That's what makes her burns the worst. It wasn't like, I got you, badang. It was just like, that's how I'm going to remember you when you die. And I was like, I was like, damn it. Oh my God.
Nah, beats what my kid's gonna remember. He's just gonna remember a grumpy old guy.
He's got good ones. The photo you sent me of you guys at the beach where you had used the buckets.
He wanted to be buried in sand. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So laid down, I buried him in, and then when I knew he couldn't move, I took a bucket and gave him 2 boobs, and he was like,
That's hilarious.
Now you got boobies, and apparently he's 7, and he just learned what boobies are this week.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
What are boobies?
He didn't know. Why, son? This is the moment, and that's how he's gonna remember you when he dies. Yep. He's gonna go, I remember the time my dad taught me about boobies.
I was buried in sand,
and he made me sand boobies so I could learn from them.
Yeah, so we went to the beach just to get out, a final trip before school starts up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because we went down to Half Moon Bay, so it's kind of Bay Area. Everyone's pretty good about wearing masks, and I always feel shitty that my kid has to grow up in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hilarious because at the hotel, he would like, hey, why aren't you wearing a mask? Like to these grown men, and they'd be like, oh, and they'd look kind of like, just chagrined and just kind of walk off.
I love that. Yeah.
I don't know. My kid's self-righteous as shit.
And what's awesome about that and bad is that everyone, especially when they're little like that, they think they'll look at you like, oh, so you've told him this much. That's why he's saying it. But no, that's him.
That's him.
That's him.
There were some people that were walking around like, you back away. It's just like, you're getting too close. And it was like, it's okay, like buddy. It's okay. They've got masks. It's fine.
No, he's still right. Yeah.
We were at the beach. He was telling people to fuck off. I mean, not in those so many words, but still.
Nice.
It was.
You're too close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. But then he would see someone like walking a dog and he would just run right up to him. Can I pet your dog? It's like, okay, buddy, you're not. He's still a work in progress.
Hey, a dog is dog.
Yeah, this is true. And then didn't she burn you again?
We were playing in the pool, and then she comes up to me, and she's like, Dad, you need to get a facial. And she's like, not to be mean, but, which not to be mean, but. Yeah. She goes, your skin is really bad. I'm like the only person that thinks you're cute.
Wow.
Which I'm like, Oh, you think your daddy's cute, but
I don't get that because you
for
look
me.
you look like you're in your 30s.
No,
Your
she's like,
I know,
she's like,
but
to her, it's like, no.
well, the thing is, when you're a little kid, someone over 30s may as well be like Methuselah.
Yeah, she's like, no. She's like, no, your skin. And I'm trying not. I'm like laughing as I'm saying it. Like, what? Like, what I gotta do? You gotta get your face cleaned up. She's like, maybe ask Nana or ask
Wow.
Mama for like what you should do, but you gotta do something.
Yeah, you're probably one of my youngest looking friends, and you're damn near 50. But
You love saying that. It's so funny.
what?
I love when you bring it up to people that don't want to hear that. That you just randomly, we're almost 50.
We are. Shit, we're not far from it.
You're like you're my friend. That's the one that's like, don't forget, we're almost dead.
Yeah, we're almost
Like
dead.
we're lucky we're alive this long.
Are we?
We should already be
Are
dead
we?
if not for modern medicine.
Exactly.
I know.
Are we that lucky?
I know. Maybe not right now. Maybe not. Yeah.
Although I do have one thing to be cheerful about. So school's starting up in like 2 weeks.
Yes. Hers starts next week.
Fuck.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
That I just think is like, really, you're in the midst of your arguing whether to go in school or online. Can you move the date?
Yeah.
Like, can you just move it to the rest? At least what other schools are doing, like first week of August is like,
That's too much. Yeah.
they need to be slapped.
Yeah. Well, but the good thing is, so it's going to be the distance learning. So pretty much homeschooling.
Yeah.
I had a goal, and that was to get a job before school started, so I didn't have to deal with that shit. And I start my new job next week.
Yay! Congratulations.
Yeah. Now Kim's pissed. She's like, "You did this on purpose."
You're like, no.
I've been trying to get a job for months. I just lucked out.
Yeah. And that's the thing I think people don't understand is I know so many people that were and are still in the same boat as you were, where it's like you get laid off, and a bunch of my friends, especially in like art and animation,
Oh, yeah.
it's been bad for a while, for like a year and a half.
Hmm.
You get laid off and you don't find something for a year. Suddenly you're a contractor.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's not like you can, where they're like, people don't want to get a job. It's like there's jobs that have been disappearing, or actually there's jobs, but the jobs are all geared towards paying the least possible.
Of course.
They want to just hire people right out of college,
I know. But anyway, the good news is that I don't have to, well, of course I have to deal with it. I'm not going to be like, nope, not my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to be there for all of it. But what we're doing, though, we're trying to get the place cleaned up so that it's conducive to learning. Because right now the place is trashed because the kid's been home for, 6 months or whatever. And then that kind of got me thinking, because his room is a freaking nightmare. It's just, and I was like, all right. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, getting your kid to clean the room. Because,
oh my God. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, does Oli, she kind of trashes hers, right?
I mean, that's totally on me because at her mom's, she keeps it perfect. At mine, we're starting to get her to do it better. And my problem is I'll have all sorts of good ideas and then I won't follow through on it because I'll get like,
this is more fun. Let's do this.
Or either it's more fun to do something or it's like there's just this is too much to handle it. Because for a while, what I was trying to do was I had gotten a jar and done all this stuff from online where it was like you could get time for your electronics by like based on what you did, your chore for the day. You put that in, then that gives you the time for the day. And I was trying to get that implemented, I don't know, at the end of last year, and then I didn't get it going. And then once we went on the lockdown, it's like that threw that out because she was on it so much for the online learning and being able to socialize, with her friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm right now trying to pull her back to being more in line with a like normal amount of time on there, But a lot of times I feel like I lose control over it, and I give up. Because I'm like,
I think you and me are similar. When left on our own, we like the place clean, but then we'll let it go to shit, and then we'll take a day and clean it back up to where everything is perfect, and then you let it destroy itself again. And and that's it worked fine for me because we'd be like, okay, this is getting too much because, you know, it never got
Yeah.
too out of hand.
Yeah.
But, you know, now with the kid, it's just destroyed all the fucking time. So
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
goes instantly. Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, what's it matter? And then, you know, I was reading something. There was some article which I'll post from like Psych Today or something like that. You know, how they take care of their shit now is how they're going to do it as adults. And I'm like, oh, he's not going to be allowed into anything if he's like this now.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, one of their things is set a good example. And I'm like, okay, we failed.
And I would say I'm better than I was as a kid, but she's exactly me as a kid.
Yeah.
So somehow, you know, I'm like, I'm way better because I'm the one cleaning the house and doing stuff, but somehow it still went, you know, hereditary.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, the way she is with all chores is how I was, the master of trying to get out of it. And it's the whole thing of like, because we've been into Hamilton so much, I think, you know, reminds me of the whole thing. It's like, make it hard to justify the cost of the war, you know, like stretch it out.
True.
Make it tough, you know, so that you do end up going, oh, all right, I'm just going to do it because we got to get going. It's like,
Yep.
oh, but next time, time I'll help.
It's
Damn
a trap.
it.
I know.
Totally. Like, you know, oh, I'm helping, but I got to do this first, or I'm just trying to do this right.
Yeah. Well,
Anything to be like, damn it.
well, you might be able to work this in.
But
So one of the suggestions they say is to give the kids pride of place, meaning if they're proud of their shit, you know, like if they're part of making their room, kind of like how you set your kid up with a Harry Potter theme.
yes.
And,
Yeah.
you know, like if your kid likes some cartoon and it's like, all right, well, here's these sheets and it's your job to, you know, make sure the bed is made and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it just gives them incentive because it's theirs, you know,
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, back to, you know, when we're working in the office space, if it's
Yeah.
your project, you're going to put a lot more into it than if it's someone else's.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you make them own it.
You know, and that has not helped.
No?
Because I was mad about this too. A lot of things happen. I don't know, this week with we were at the pool and she randomly said, like, we just made that room like in around her birthday.
Yeah.
So I'd say right after it, probably like in November of last year.
Sure.
So she's like, you know, I'm not going to want my room Harry Potter forever. Probably, you know, when I'm at least in a teenager, I'm going to want that change. She's like basically starting to say like, I'm over Harry Potter.
Wow.
And even somebody
And
that was
Mike
there.
cried.
Well, I was like, well, one, I was like, oh, because we love Harry Potter. But the other was like, what the fuck? We're not changing this. You know? Like, you're kidding me. This thing's staying at least a year, or a year. It's like 2 years would be better because that took a lot of work, you know? And then she's like, well, first she says that, and then that get us talking to some people that, you know, at our pool, you can only have a certain amount of people and there's distancing.
Yeah.
But these people heard that and were like, what? We love Harry Potter still. And she's like, whatever. Like, you see, she's like, good for you. But then she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, what are you going to want it to be? She's like, I don't know, maybe like ocean themed or something. So like, and I was like, what? Like, you're going to go from us making this like super themed, very cool room to something that you would have just done at a dentist. I'm like, that's all I had to do was like paint your walls blue and sponge on some clouds.
Yeah, that's it. You could have made
Put
it
some
so much
seashells on the wall. She put some mariner.
Hey, you try it, man. She might take good care of it. I was expecting like boy bands, or is that even still a thing?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I'm sure I'm sure I will find out. But right now, I have not heard of yet.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know. I mean, does she have an interest in boys yet?
She has an interest that it will be allowed. She's told me from watching her sitcoms and stuff is where she thinks, she's like, you know, when will I be able to have a boyfriend? I go, why? You got somebody in mind? And she's like, no. I'm like, who are you talking about? No, I don't. I'm just saying. I go, well, yeah, you could date once you're 18 and you're not in my house. And she's like, that's no, because people have boyfriends and girlfriends in high school. I go, who says? And she's like, I've seen them on my shows. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't. Yeah, forget you. You know it. But yeah, so she was all like, it's like trying to be. I'm like, you're 9. Leave me alone.
Scary. Oh God.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, no. It's okay. Who is this boy? I'm like, Daddy wants to meet him.
Yeah.
She's like, shut up. There's
Look,
no one.
You're good about that, not blowing your top so you can get her to keep talking.
Yeah.
So you're manipulative too.
Oh my God. Yeah. I make it into a big joke. And then when you find out, then it's like, you lied. You are mad.
Mm-hmm. Ha.
Oh, what did I tell her too? She was like, oh, dang it. It was a good one too. Yeah, because she was like, I'll have to remember it for the next time, but whatever it was like, will you let me do this? And I was like, what's gonna happen? I'll tell you what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna tell you yes, but really I'm just so we can get there, and I'm gonna tell you no. Like I'm just gonna stop it. Why is it always like that? I'm like, but yeah, absolutely. We, like, but I gotta figure.
I can only get away with
I
that
should
a
have wrote
couple of times before she realizes he's full of shit.
Yeah. The other thing she told me, so this one, all this stuff, because there's not much to do, you know how it is because of the virus and stuff. So we can use the pool for an hour, so we try to do that. And, they only let in 10 people into the area at a time. So it's pretty good spread out.
Yeah.
But while we were in there, these 2 ladies came in and they had a baby with them.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want a baby sister. And she looks at me and she's like, Daddy, you need to find a lady with a baby.
Jeez. Yeah.
So then I was like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, so you want, she's like, yeah, I want a little sister, and I want a baby. I want it to be a baby. So then I'm like, so I'm asking her, like, well, what are you going to do with this baby? She's like, well, I'm going to want them to I want the baby to sleep by me while I'm sleeping and stuff. I'm like, okay.
Oh, you don't.
So then we had to go to Walmart. And then I'm like, that's like a hit song. That's like I'll need a lady with a baby. And then while we're around, like walking around the store, I'm like, I need a lady with a baby. My baby needs a baby. And she's shut up. And I'm like, oh. And I go, there's a lady with a baby. And I start walking to her, and she's like, no, go talk to her. I'm like, hey, lady with a baby.
Love it that you can finally turn it on her to where she's like, oh no.
Yeah, she's like, stop it. No.
Dad's going to embarrass me.
I'm like, hey, there's lots of ladies with a baby.
I don't want to hook up with a baby with a lady with a baby at Walmart, though. That's kind of scary.
I know.
Does she have shoes on?
Yeah, is the baby on the loose?
Yeah. Is the
Wait.
baby drinking a Mountain Dew? Fucking A.
No, but they're all maskless.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
And one, yeah.
Oh.
And tethered on a rope.
Poor. Back to the room thing. I guess it makes sense. Have a checklist so the kid knows what it means to have a clean room, because you and I have different definitions of clean. Like, what?
Yeah.
I stuffed it under the bed. No, you asshole. It's not good. I don't know.
Which is exactly how I was as a kid. And even when I worked at jobs, I remember the Warner Brothers store, they'd have a whole thing about, they give you that board and how to fold all the shirts. And I would always fold one that way and then shove the rest in there and kind of just mold the edges and put the one on top. And I'd always be like, God, you're the fastest.
Yes, I am.
I'd be like, yep. The rest of them, I'd be like, just kind of make them look right. Have one good one on the top. They'd be like, why can't you be more like Mike?
And they give shit to millennials for doing shit.
You know why? Because now they get to the point where they're just like, they didn't do it at all. So they just get yelled at. We at least were still where
Sneaky.
It's like we're sneaky about it.
See,
like,
I never did that shit. I was always deadly do right. I was the guy you would make fun of. Like, look at that asshole folding all the shirts.
When I worked at Price Club before it was Costco, you'd have go backs and people would be like, oh my God, go backs are the worst. It takes forever. I'd be like, oh, this one got open. So I'd be like, eating some candy. And then I'd be like, okay, here, this one goes here, and these 3 go under it. This one goes here, and these one fit in this box.
It's a good thing you're a
Dang,
fucking
Mike,
artist,
you're
you couldn't
Dang,
work
Mike,
anywhere.
you're fast at it. I'm like, hey, you guys gonna need another cart? I'll take that one with the M&Ms. You're so fast. Yep.
Yeah, I would never hire you except maybe to draw something.
What's funny is I don't think I'd be like that now, but I was the worst. Yeah, right out of like in high school, right out of high school. So lazy.
And you'd be self-righteous about it too. What?
Yeah.
I,
What?
I remember
that
you
take a
like
long
that.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
But you expect me to fold all this shit?
Yeah. What are you, crazy?
I get off in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, this is ridiculous. No, it's like they're not paying me enough for that. And you're like, but that's what they're paying you. Like that's your job. No, 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 no. That's above and beyond. That minimum wage is just us here. All this other stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah. You're just paying me to show up. Fucking asshole.
I'm here. I have the uniform on.
Yeah. What more do you want?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll post a link to this thing. It's got some good hints in there and suggestions. Yeah. And they also talk about when the kids are older, you have different rules because a teenager's not going to comply like a 7-year-old would. And also, you know, in the immortal words of Chad Daniels, who said he would not go into a 16-year-old son's room anymore.
Yeah.
And people asked why. It's like, have you ever stubbed your toe on a sock? That's like,
Yeah, you don't want to
ew.
What, you're gonna always find something you don't want to find.
So
Yeah.
we're going to go into the bad dad, but before that, we're going to push for Seattle Gummy Company, the mocha shots. Love these good damn
Delicious.
things. They're well,
They are delicious.
they're
I like
effective.
'em.
I liked more that they were effective. You get some gummies. Each one's worth like a cup of coffee, and you just
Mhm.
pop them in your mouth. They're cheaper than going to Starbucks. You don't
Mhm.
get the jittery thing. You get it, kicks in like 5 times faster than a cup of coffee does. And unless you take a million of them like Mike does, you're not going to feel jittery.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't go by me because I want those
There's a link in our
In
show notes.
mass.
Yeah. Click that link and use the code StandUpDads15 for 15% off your order. And if you want a sample, we will be sending samples out to whoever sends us a parenting story. It could be a dad, could be a
Yes.
mom, whatever you want. Send it to thestandupdads@gmail.com. And we'll send you out a sample. If the story is good, we'll read it on the air. If it's really good, we'll have you come on and read it yourself or tell it. You know what I mean?
We should send it to Ari. I wonder if
I'm
we
not
can even
sending
send stuff
yeah.
anyway. You can't send nothing else anymore, I don't think, because they'll be like, that's coming out of the U.S.
Yeah, so
Burn it.
yeah, no shit. Yeah, the samples unfortunately are just for the U.S. because I am not paying $40 to send a little envelope of stuff out. So I apologize for that, but I still want to hear from international dads too. So
Yeah,
Seattle Gummy Company, check them out. And that brings us to our bad dad. And this one, kind of a lackluster one, but I always love the stories where dads and sons do things together.
Even if they're horrible.
Father-son arrest on drug charges.
Oh, no. Were they starting a business together? That's always nice.
No, Joseph Gallegos Jr., 45, and Joseph Gallegos III, 27, are accused of drug distribution and weapon possession. Both received $25,000 cash bonds on Friday. This is Colorado.
Mhm.
So it was a Colorado State Patrol vehicle. Saw them driving on the highway, and they were driving over the hash marks a couple of times and pulled them over. And this is the part that got me on this story. In conversation with the trooper, the driver, Gallegos Jr., reportedly told the trooper that he had been arrested, I quote, for everything, according to the arrest affidavit. So they had a dog search the vehicle. There were 3 loaded weapons found along with 21 grams of mushrooms, which I thought mushrooms were legal in Colorado.
Yeah, it is lackluster to be like, well, the weapons are bad, but it's like
mushrooms.
The mushrooms don't really seem like that.
Over
Like
mushrooms.
Yeah. I'm expecting they started their own meth lab, or they've got
Say hello to my little
meth.
friend. Ooh, look at the colors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cocaine, but
It's
instead
mushrooms.
it's like we grew mushrooms. What a tough one. Oh my God. I wonder if in jail, those are ones that are just ridiculed. Like, oh, here's the mushroom man.
I got a mushroom for you.
Stop it. If they had caught us on any other day, we would have you would have mushroom.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I just couldn't imagine getting arrested with my dad.
I know.
Especially for something that stupid. Just like
I know.
But yeah, I worked extra hard not to go with the downer route because there were so many horrible stories this last week.
I do remember a story of when, I guess how it could happen. I remember my mom, when she was running late and she said she had to borrow my sister's car. So my sister's probably like 17
Uh-oh.
or something at the time. And as she's driving to work, she realizes there's like an open container of,
dude.
like, I forget what it was, a beer or something.
That's gonna smell good.
So can you imagine that? You get pulled over. Yes, sir. So, oh, what's that? What's what? Oh my God. Oh yeah, you didn't know that was in there. And they go through the car, especially like when you're a teenager, like, oh, what's this? What else have I found? They're really not
That would be awful.
Sure they're not.
God.
You know?
So,
That would be the worst.
jeez.
So that's another thing. Don't go into your kid's room when they're 16 or 17 and probably don't borrow their car without bringing your dog out to sniff.
Well, you know what? We should do one on like kid privacy, like figuring out where to draw the line on, how much privacy they get, and it should be earned.
I'm putting a chip in her. No.
I know.
No.
Fucking dick.
Oh, yeah, at all times. Why are you stopping at this point? Why are you speeding over here? Stay away from that area. I don't want you in that town.
Some car insurance companies that'll put a chip in your car to track your car, like speeding it.
But not your kid yet.
Their car.
Yeah, but they will.
No. Jesus Christ. Email us, thestateofdads@gmail.com. Subscribe to our show. We come out every Sunday. You won't have to do anything. Once you subscribe, it'll just pop up in your feed. International dads, write to us. I won't send you samples, but I do want to hear what it's like, especially with all the COVID stuff going on. I want to know what it's like where you're at.
I
'cause
know.
over here, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And if you want a picture drawn of a dad illegally tracking his kid, who would they write to?
Why, they would write to pencil for hire at gmail.com. So that's pencil, the number 4 hire at Gmail. You can also see my work at pencil for hire. That's pencil FOR hire on Instagram, or pencilforhire.com. It's kind of confusing because Gmail, somebody had gotten my pencil for hire.
And then when you go to pencilforhire.com, go down to the bottom. I think it's the bottom right, and check out Mike's dirty 3 little pigs.
I should
No,
take
you
that
shouldn't.
down. That's from the Spike and Mike Sick and Twisted Festival. I remember my favorite story is when we watched that in the theater, and at the end, somebody's like, he thanked his mom for that.
If you knew his mom,
It's like
it would
the
make
first
sense.
thing I ever film or whatnot, Yeah.
And also, Mike has a comic book. Tell him about it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be starting up again. I had done
What you have?
like a 5-year run of Clumsy Love, which was a strip that was like about our life. And I stopped it, obviously, because we had done, it started when it was just me and my ex and our 2 cats. And then probably about the first 4 years of Oli's life are in it. And then I trailed off. I mostly stopped because I messed up and lost everything online.
Tell him about the book.
But I have a book of it. Yeah, so there's a book that's got, I'd say, the first 2 years in it. And then I'm going to make another one that have the rest of it, and then I'm going to put it back up. So you can buy that through the link
in the show notes. While you're doing that, go look for Doug Ray's graphic novel, The Eye of Mongombo. It's hilarious. It's a good read. There's a quarantine going on. You got nothing better to do. Pick it up. And again, Seattle Gummy Company. Click the link in the show notes. Use the code StandUpDads15 and get 15% off of your order. And email us for some samples. Check them out before you want to invest in them. I guarantee you'll be impressed. They're Stand-Up Dads tested and approved. And get my side project, The Gag on This Podcast, that's run by Big Nick. And we record comics. We interview comics every week. Have a great time doing it. We've had some cool people on there. I had to miss the last one because I was at the beach. I'll be back on there after that. But check them out. They're fun to listen to. And we will talk to you guys next week.
See you next week.
The thing I want to say is thank you all for coming. Bye-bye.